The Galactic Council had warned every species about the. For 10,000 years, the dragon-like creatures had been the most feared beings in the known universe. They stood 7 meters tall when fully grown. Their scales could stop plasma weapons. Their breath contained acids that could melt through the strongest metals. Every species knew to stay far away from their planet. So when the human colony ship Wandering Star suffered a catastrophic engine failure and crashed on Prime, the Galactic Council marked all 847 colonists as dead. No rescue mission was planned. No help was coming. Everyone knew that nothing survived on the Dragon world. But they had not counted on Lily Harper. Lily was 6 years old. She had red hair tied in pigtails and a gap-toothed smile that could light up any room. She was the kind of child who talked to bugs and named every stray animal she met. She had never learned to be afraid of things that looked different from her. When the escape pod carrying Lily and her father touched down in a valley surrounded by purple-leaf trees, she pressed her small face against the window and gasped with delight. "Daddy, look at the trees, they're purple. And the sky is orange, this place is so pretty." Her father, Commander Harper, was not looking at the trees. He was trying to send a distress signal on every frequency he knew. His hands were shaking. Sweat ran down his face. He knew exactly where they had landed, and he knew they had very little time. "Lily, sweetheart, I need you to stay very still," he said. "Don't make any noise, don't move from that seat." "But Daddy, I want to see the purple trees up close." "Lily, please just stay there." But the escape pod had cracked during the landing. A large gap had opened in the hull, letting in the warm air of this alien world. And through that gap, something was moving. Saw it first. His blood turned to ice in his veins. The creature that pushed through the crack was about the size of a large dog. It was covered in black scales that shimmered with colors like oil on water. Its eyes were bright gold, and they fixed on with an intelligence that was terrifying. When it opened its mouth, rows of sharp teeth glistened with that famous acid that could eat through anything. A hatchling, young but already deadly, reached for his weapon, knowing it was useless. The scales would stop any shot he could fire. They were going to die here, on this alien world, eaten by a baby dragon. "Oh my gosh!" Lily's voice cut through his fear. He turned to see his daughter standing up from her seat, her eyes wide and sparkling. "Daddy, Daddy, look, it's so cute." The hatchling stopped moving. Its head tilted to one side as if it did not understand what it was seeing. For a long moment, nothing moved. The creature stared at the small human girl. The small human girl stared back with pure joy on her face. In 10,000 years of recorded history, across hundreds of different species, no one had ever called a cute. Every being who had ever seen one had felt terror. That was the natural response. That was the only response. But Lily had not read any reports about the. She did not know their history. She did not know she was supposed to be afraid. She just saw a scaly creature with pretty golden eyes. Before could stop her, Lily walked right past him. She walked right up to the hatchling that could kill her in a single bite. She crouched down so she was at eye level with it. "Hi there," she said softly. "Aren't you the prettiest thing? Can I pet you? I promise I'll be gentle." The hatchling made a sound like metal scraping against metal, held his breath, certain these were his daughter's final moments. Then the hatchling lowered its head. Lily reached out with her small hand and touched the scales between the creature's eyes. The scales were warm, almost hot, and smoother than she had expected. "Good baby," she whispered. "Good dragon baby, you're not scary at all, you're just a little baby." The hatchling began to make a new sound, a deep rumbling that vibrated through its whole body. It took several seconds to realize what it was. The creature was purring. "Daddy, come see," Lily called out. "The dragon baby likes me. Can we keep it? Please, please, please." Could not move. He could not speak. He was watching his 6-year-old daughter pet one of the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy, and it was purring like a kitten. Over the next hour, Lily refused to leave the hatchling's side. She named it because the creature had made a sound that Lily thought sounded like that name. Followed Lily around the crashed pod, watched her with those golden eyes, and made small chirping sounds whenever Lily spoke to her. When Lily sat down to eat a protein bar from the emergency supplies, sat next to her. When Lily offered a piece of the bar to the hatchling, ate it. The face she made suggested she did not like the taste at all, but she ate every piece Lily gave her anyway. I think she was hungry, Lily told her father. Poor baby, all alone out here. Where do you think her mommy is? Was still trying to process what he was seeing. Everything he knew about the said this was impossible. They were apex predators. They viewed all other life as threats or food. They did not form bonds with other species. They certainly did not purr when petted by human children. But here was his daughter, scratching under the hatchling's chin while it made happy rumbling sounds. I don't know, sweetheart, he finally managed to say, but I think we should be very careful. Her mommy might not be as friendly as she is. Don't be silly, Daddy. If the baby is nice, the mommy will be nice too. That's how it works. Wished he shared his daughter's confidence. But as he watched Lily and curl up together near the pod's heating unit, the hatchling's body wrapped protectively around his daughter, he felt something strange happening in his chest. Hoping. Maybe, just maybe, they were going to survive this after all. Outside the pod, the orange sky was darkening toward night. The purple trees swayed in a warm breeze, and somewhere in the mountains, something very large was moving toward the valley. His mother had noticed her daughter was missing, and she was coming to find her. 3 days had passed since the crash. Harper had stopped trying to understand what was happening and had started simply recording it. He spoke into his device every few hours, documenting the impossible. Day 3 on Prime. My daughter has adopted a dragon, or maybe the dragon has adopted her. I cannot tell anymore. The hatchling, which Lily has named, refuses to leave her side. It sleeps curled around her. It brings her things it finds outside. This morning it dropped a shiny rock at Lily's feet and waited until she praised it. Paused, watching through the cracked hull as Lily played within the meadow outside. The hatchling's tail was wagging, actually wagging like a dog. Every report I ever read about the said they were solitary, aggressive, and incapable of bonding with other species, but follows Lily like a loyal puppy. When Lily cries, makes soft sounds and presses against her. When Lily laughs, seems to laugh too, in her own strange way. He stopped the recording and rubbed his tired eyes. He had barely slept since they landed. Every sound in the night made him reach for his weapon. He knew the hatchling was harmless to Lily, but he also knew that somewhere out there, much larger dragons were hunting. Daddy, Daddy, come quick. Ran outside, his heart pounding. But Lily was not in danger. She was standing in the middle of the meadow, pointing at the sky with pure excitement on her face. Look, a big one. Looked up and felt his soul leave his body. The dragon descending from the sky was enormous. Her wingspan blocked out the sun. Her scales were deep red, marked with silver scars from countless battles. Her eyes burned like twin suns, and when she roared, the sound shook the very ground beneath their feet. This was the destroyer. Had heard stories about her. She had single-handedly defeated an entire invasion fleet during a war that happened before humans had even reached space. She was one of the most powerful alive. And she was mother. Grabbed Lily and pulled her behind him. He raised his weapon, knowing it would do nothing, knowing they were dead. Stay behind me, sweetheart. Whatever happens, stay behind me. But Lily wiggled free from his grip. Before he could stop her, she was running toward the massive dragon, waving her little arms. Hi there, are you mommy? She's been staying with me. She's really cute and we're best friends now. Landed with a force that sent tremors through the valley. Her massive head lowered until it was just a few meters from Lily. Each of her teeth was as long as Lily was tall. One bite could swallow the child whole. "Lily, come back here right now." But Lily was not listening to her father. She was looking up at the giant dragon with nothing but wonder in her eyes. "I like your horns," she said. "They're so pretty, and your scales are really shiny. You must be a really good mommy to have such a cute baby." Stared at the small human. In all her centuries of life, no creature had ever spoken to her this way. No creature had ever stood before her without shaking. No creature had ever called her daughter cute. Bounded over to her mother, chirping excitedly. She pressed against Lily, then ran to, then back to Lily again. She was trying to tell her mother something. She was trying to explain that this tiny pink creature was special. Watched her daughter closely. She saw the way looked at the human child. She saw the bond that had formed between them. It was the same bond that formed with their own clutch mates. It was sacred. It was unbreakable. It was supposed to be impossible with outsiders. "You," spoke, her voice deep and rumbling. Her galactic standard was heavily accented but understandable. "You are very strange, small creature." "Thank you," Lily beamed. "My daddy says that too, but I think being strange is good, normal is boring." Something changed in the dragon's golden eyes. The fire dimmed. The killing intent faded. What replaced it was something that had never expected to see in a curiosity, and perhaps the smallest hint of amusement. "My daughter has claimed you," said slowly. "She has given you her trust. Do not do this lightly. We do not do this at all with outsiders. Yet here she is, wrapped around you like you are her clutch sister." "Is that bad?" Lily asked, reaching down to Pat's head. "It is, unexpected," turned her gaze to, who was still standing frozen with his useless weapon. "You are this child's father." Nodded, not trusting his voice. "You have raised a warrior, small in body but large in spirit. She faced me without fear. That is rare. That is worthy of respect." The massive dragon settled onto the ground, folding her wings against her body. The action was almost peaceful, almost gentle. "Tell me, small fierce one," said to Lily. "Why do you not fear us? Every species fears it has always been so." Lily thought about this for a moment. She was only 6, but she took the question seriously. "Why would I be scared? Is nice to me. She purrs when I pet her. She brings me presents. She kept me warm last night when it got cold." Lily shrugged her small shoulders. "You look scary, but so do big dogs, and big dogs are usually really friendly if you're nice to them." Was silent for a long time. Then she made a sound that did not recognize. It was low and rumbling and seemed to shake the air itself. She was laughing. "Big dogs," the ancient warrior repeated. "The terror of the galaxy, compared to big dogs by a human child who barely reaches my ankle." "Well, you do both have sharp teeth," Lily pointed out. More laughter, deeper this time. Lowered her massive head until one golden eye was level with Lily's face. Up close, could see the wisdom in that eye, the centuries of experience, the battles fought and won, but also something else, something softer. "I will not harm you, small fierce one, nor will I harm your father. My daughter has chosen you and I will respect her choice." The great dragon paused. "But you cannot stay here alone. The others will need to meet you. They will need to see what I have seen today." "Others?" finally found his voice. "What others?" Rose back to her full height, her wings spreading wide. "The Elder Council. They rule our kind. They will decide what to do with you." She looked down at Lily one more time. "Do not be afraid of them, small one. They are just big dogs too." Lily giggled, chirped happily, and somewhere in the back of his mind began to realize that his daughter had just done something that no diplomat in human history had ever managed. She had made a laugh. Whatever happened next, that single fact changed everything. The Elder Council chamber was carved deep into a volcanic mountain. Rivers of glowing lava flowed through channels in the walls, giving everything an orange-red glow. The ceiling was so high that it disappeared into darkness. The floor was smooth black glass that reflected the flames like a dark mirror. 12 ancient dragons sat in a semicircle, each one larger and more than the last. Their scales were dull with age, their eyes clouded but still sharp. Together, they had lived for more than 40,000 years. Together, they had seen empires rise and fall across the galaxy. Lily thought they looked like a bunch of grumpy grandpas. She stood in the center of the chamber, holding her father's hand, sat beside her, pressing close against her leg, waited behind them, having escorted them here from the valley. The oldest of the elders leaned forward. His name was, and he was covered in more scars than scales. One of his horns had been broken off long ago. His voice was like thunder rolling through mountains. So this is the human child who has corrupted one of our young. Felt Lily's hand tighten in his grip. He squeezed back, trying to tell her it would be okay, even though he was not sure it would be. But Lily was not afraid. She was annoyed. She let go of her father's hand and walked forward until she was standing right in front of. The ancient dragon was so large that her head barely reached his ankle. She had to crane her neck back to look at his face. "Is not corrupted," Lily said firmly. "She's my friend, and you're being really mean about it." The chamber went completely silent. Stopped breathing. Every dragon in the room had turned to stare at the tiny human girl who had just scolded their leader. No one had spoken to that way in thousands of years. Entire species had been destroyed for smaller insults. Lowered his massive head until one eye was level with Lily. His breath was hot enough to make her hair flutter. His teeth could crush her in an instant. "You do not fear us, small one." Lily shook her head. "Told me you're all just big softies who like to pretend you're scary. She said you all act tough, but really you just want belly rubs like everyone else." A strange sound filled the chamber. It started low, almost like an earthquake, then grew louder. It took a moment to realize what it was. The Elder Council was laughing. Even the most feared of them all was making that rumbling sound that passed for laughter. His great body shook with it. The rivers of lava trembled in response. "Belly rubs," the ancient dragon repeated. "The terror of the galaxy wants belly rubs." He turned to look at the other elders. "Perhaps we have become too predictable in our old age." One of the other elders, a deep blue dragon with silver streaks in her scales, spoke up. "The child speaks truth without deception. I can sense it. She genuinely believes we are not threatening." "Because we are not," Lily said. "Not to me anyway. You haven't tried to hurt me. Mommy didn't hurt me. Why would you be any different?" "Because we have destroyed worlds, child," said, his voice growing serious. "We have burned fleets and crushed armies. Every species in the galaxy fears us because we have given them reason to fear." "But did they try being nice to you first?" The question hung in the air. The elders looked at each other. For a long moment no one spoke. "No," finally admitted. "They did not. They came with weapons. They came with threats. They came expecting war, so we gave them war." "Well, there you go," Lily said, as if it was the simplest thing in the world. "You can't be friends with someone if you're pointing weapons at them. My teacher says that's not how friendship works." Stepped forward from her place behind them. "Honored elders, I have watched this child for several days now. She shows no fear because she truly feels none. And my daughter," she looked at, who was still pressed against Lily's side, "my daughter has chosen her." The blue elder's eyes widened. "The soul bond with an outsider." "Yes, I watched it form. It is real and it is strong." Studied Lily with new interest. "The soul bond has not occurred with an outsider in all our recorded history. It was believed to be impossible. Our kind bonds only with our own." "Maybe your kind was wrong," Lily said. "Maybe you just never tried." More silence, more thoughtful looks passing between the ancient dragons. "The child makes a point," the blue elder said. "For 10,000 years we have been alone. We drove away everyone who came to our world. We built walls of fire and fear around ourselves. And in all that time, not once did we ask if there might be another way. Because there was no need, another elder grumbled. We are the strongest, we need no allies. But is being strong the same as being happy? Lily asked. The question hit harder than any weapon could have. Saw it in the way the elders shifted, in the way their eyes changed. For beings who had lived thousands of years, who had seen everything, who had won every battle, this tiny human child was asking something they had never considered. Were they happy? Was quiet for a very long time. When he spoke again, his voice was softer than before. You are a strange creature, little human. You walk into the heart of our power and lecture us about friendship. You stand before the mightiest warriors in the galaxy and worry about our happiness. He lowered his head until his nose almost touched her. Tell me, do all humans have such fire in their hearts? Lily thought about it. I think so. My daddy is brave. The people on our ship were all brave. They wanted to find new homes and new friends across the stars. That's why we were traveling. And you crashed here by accident. Yes, but maybe it wasn't an accident. Maybe it was supposed to happen. My mommy always said that everything happens for a reason, even the bad things. Looked at, your mate is wise. Felt tears prick at his eyes. She passed away 2 years ago. Then the child carries her wisdom, turned back to Lily. Little fierce one, you have given us much to think about. The soul bond between you and cannot be broken. She has claimed you as clutchkin, which means you are now family to all. Lily's face lit up. Really, I get a dragon family. A very large and very protective dragon family, confirmed. But we ask something in return. What? We wish to meet others of your kind. If they are all like you, then perhaps we have made a mistake. Perhaps we have spent too many years being feared when we could have spent them being friends. Felt his legs go weak. He reached out to steady himself against Sleg. The great dragon did not move away. His 6-year-old daughter had just done the impossible. She had won over the elder council of the, not through weapons or threats or clever diplomacy. Just through being kind. I would like that very much, Lily said, smiling up at, and I think my daddy would too. Right, Daddy? Nodded, not trusting his voice. The galaxy was about to change in ways no one could have predicted. And it had all started because one little girl thought a dragon was cute. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was the largest in recorded history. Representatives from 217 species crowded into the great chamber, their voices creating a roar of confusion and fear. News had spread across the galaxy like wildfire, and no one could believe what they were hearing. Ambassador Vance sat at the human delegation's table, reading the report for the 10th time. Her assistant, Lieutenant Brooks, stood beside her with a pale face. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, said slowly. A colony ship crashed on Prime. A 6-year-old girl survived and befriended a hatchling. And now the Elder Council wants to establish diplomatic relations with humanity. That is correct, Ambassador. Though the species that destroyed the Empire, the species that made the hegemony retreat, the species that every child in the galaxy has nightmares about. Yes, Ambassador. Set down the report and stared at the wall. In 30 years of diplomatic work, she had never seen anything like this. They had been the galaxy's monster for 10,000 years. They did not make friends. They did not negotiate. They simply existed, terrible and alone, and everyone else stayed away. How, she asked, how did a child do what every diplomat in history has failed to do? Pulled up a video file. They sent this along with their message. They wanted us to see. The holographic display showed footage from Prime. A small human girl with red pigtails was sitting on the back of a dragon hatchling, flying through forests of purple trees. She was laughing, her arms spread wide, her face full of joy. The hatchling beneath her moved with careful grace, making sure never to fly too fast or turn too sharply. Another clip showed the same girl braiding flowers into the mane of a massive red dragon. The dragon, one of the largest had ever seen, was lying still and making a deep rumbling sound. It looked almost peaceful, almost gentle. A third clip showed the girl teaching a group of hatchlings how to play hide and seek. The young dragons were terrible at hiding, their tails sticking out from behind rocks, but they seemed delighted when the girl pretended not to see them. The Elder Council says that this child has shown them something they forgot long ago, said. They used the word in their own language that translates roughly to connection or warmth or family. They say humans might be worthy of this thing they had forgotten. Watch the videos again. The girl showed no fear, not even a trace of it. She treated the dragons the same way she might treat any other playmates. She just was not afraid of them, murmured. That's simple. Everyone else was so scared that they never tried to be kind. It appears so, Ambassador. The chamber had grown quieter as other delegates noticed the human delegation watching something. Now representatives from dozens of species were crowding around, trying to see the holographic display. This is a trick, said Representative, his gray skin rippling with agitation. They are using the humans as puppets. They will betray them and then attack the rest of us. Why would they need puppets? Asked calmly. They have never needed anyone's help before. If they wanted to attack, they would simply attack. Then explain this, gestured at the display, where Lily was now rubbing the belly of a hatchling that had rolled onto its back. This is not natural. They do not behave this way. Maybe they do when someone gives them a chance. The chamber erupted into argument. Some species demanded that humanity be punished for consorting with the enemy. Others saw opportunity and began calculating how they might also make friends with the dragons. Still others simply refused to believe what they were seeing. Through it all remained calm. When the noise finally died down, she stood and addressed the full council. For 10,000 years we have all feared we taught our children to fear them. We built weapons to fight them. We drew maps that marked their space as forbidden. And in all that time, not one of us ever tried simply being nice to them. She let that sink in before continuing. A 6-year-old human girl looked at a dragon hatchling and saw something cute. She walked up to one of the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy and asked if she could pet it. And do you know what happened? The hatchling let her, because no one had ever been kind to it before. Murmurs spread through the chamber. They were not born monsters, said. They became monsters because we treated them like monsters. Every time someone came to their world, it was with weapons drawn and threats ready. They responded in kind, and we all convinced ourselves that this was simply their nature. She pointed at the holographic display, now showing Lily asleep with curled around her like a protective blanket. This child proved us wrong. She proved that the most feared species in the galaxy is capable of gentleness, of bonding, of love. All they needed was someone to see past the teeth and scales and give them a chance. The chamber was silent. They have issued an open invitation, continued. Any species that wishes to establish peaceful relations may send a delegation to there. They have only one requirement. What requirement? Someone called out. They want to meet our children first. They say that adults are too full of fear to see clearly, but children see truth. The silence stretched on, could see the doubt on many faces. The fear that had been built over countless generations was not easy to overcome. But she could also see something else. On some faces there was hope. I will be leading the human delegation personally, announced. We leave in 3 days. Any species that wishes to join us is welcome. She paused. But leave your weapons at home. We are going to make friends, not war. After the session ended, approached her with a question in his eyes. Do you really believe this will work, Ambassador? 10,000 years of fear does not disappear overnight. Watch the holographic display one more time. Lily Harper was hugging, and the hatchling's tail was wagging. "That little girl believed it would work," she said. "She believed it so completely that she changed the mind of the most powerful creatures in the galaxy. If a 6-year-old can do that, then surely the rest of us can learn." Nodded slowly. "What do you think will happen when we get there?" Smiled. It was the first real smile she had allowed herself in years. "I think we are going to discover that the monsters we feared were never really monsters at all. They were just lonely. And now, thanks to one brave little girl, they do not have to be lonely anymore." The preparations began that very day. Delegates were chosen, and across the galaxy, children were told a new story at bedtime. Not a story about terrible dragons who destroyed worlds. A story about a girl named Lily who saw something beautiful where everyone else saw only fear. It was the beginning of a new chapter for the galaxy, and everyone wanted to see what would happen next. 5 years had passed since the day Lily Harper crashed on Prime and changed the galaxy forever. She was 11 now, taller and stronger, but she still had the same red hair and the same fearless spirit that had won the hearts of dragons. She stood at the front of the diplomatic ship Bright Tomorrow, watching the planet grow larger through the window. Was beside her, as always. The hatchling had grown into a young dragon the size of a small shuttle. Her black scales gleamed in the starlight, and her golden eyes reflected the world below. The soul bond between them had only grown stronger over the years. They could sense each other's feelings without words. Where Lily went, followed. Where flew, Lily rode. "Are you nervous?" asked, joining his daughter at the window. He looked older now, with gray appearing in his hair, but his eyes were warm. "The council representatives are nervous," Lily said, glancing back at the ship's passengers. Dozens of diplomats from different species sat in their seats, trying to hide their fear. They had all volunteered for this mission, but being brave and being calm were not the same thing. But they brought their kids like they asked. "It will be fine." The hatchling integration program had been Lily's idea. 3 years ago, she had suggested that young should be paired with children from other species. The adults were too scared, too set in their ways. But children were different. Children saw clearly. The program had been a success beyond anyone's dreams. Across the galaxy, young dragons now had friends from dozens of species. They grew up together, played together, learned together. A whole generation was being raised without the old fears. "The Galactic Council changed the planet's classification," said, pulling up a report on his device. "It is no longer listed as an extreme hazard zone. They are calling it a protected cultural heritage site now." Lily laughed softly. "Is going to hate that. She liked being scary." The destroyer had become the ambassador, though she often grumbled that she could still destroy things if she wanted to. She had surprised everyone by being excellent at diplomacy. Her direct manner and dry humor made negotiations much simpler. When the size of a building told you to stop arguing and shake hands, people listened. The ship descended through the atmosphere, passing through clouds that glowed orange in the alien sunlight. Below, Lily could see the valley where she had first met. The same purple trees swayed in the wind. The same mountains rose against the sky. But the valley had changed. Where there had once been only wilderness, now there was a community. Human buildings stood beside nesting structures. Gardens had been planted between them, tended by both species working together. From above, Lily could see children running through the meadows, some human, some, all playing together in games that mixed both cultures. "It is beautiful," she whispered. Made a sound of agreement, a deep rumble that vibrated through Lily's bones. The ship landed on a platform near the center of the settlement. As the doors opened, Lily saw a familiar figure waiting for them. Eldest of the Elder Council, stood tall despite his age. His scales had grown even grayer over the years, but his eyes were bright and warm. Behind him stood, and several other who had become leaders of this new alliance. "Little Fierce One," rumbled as Lily walked down the ramp. "Though I suppose you are not so little any more." "And you have gotten even more gray," Lily replied with a grin. The ancient dragon laughed, that deep rumbling sound that had once terrified the galaxy. Now it just sounded like a grandfather chuckling at a joke. "The galaxy has changed because of you, child. Do you understand what you have done?" Lily reached up to scratch under his chin, just as she had done with all those years ago. The oldest dragon alive, the terror of 12 star systems, leaned into her touch and made a sound of contentment. "I just thought she was cute," Lily said honestly. "Everything else kind of happened by accident." Behind her, the diplomats were filing off the ship with their children. Lily watched as young dragons approached the newcomers, curious and gentle. One by one, the children of other species began to smile instead of scream. A small blue-skinned girl, no more than 4 years old, was looking up at a hatchling twice her size. The hatchling had lowered its head so they were at eye level. For a moment, everyone held their breath. "Pretty," the little girl whispered. The hatchling's tail began to wag. Appeared at Lily's side, watching the scene with tears in his eyes. "5 years ago, if you had told me this would happen, I would have called you crazy." "5 years ago, I was just scared we were going to be eaten," Lily admitted. "But then I saw, and she was so small and so alone, and I just wanted to help her. And now look," gestured at the valley spread out before them. Dragons and humans walking together, ships from a dozen species landing nearby, children of different worlds learning that friendship could exist between anyone. The Galactic Council had established a permanent presence on Prime. Trade agreements had been signed. Cultural exchanges had begun. The who had been alone for 10,000 years were now part of a growing community of species. All because one little girl had not been afraid. "Daddy," Lily said softly, "do you think Mom would be proud?" Pulled his daughter into a hug. "Your mother would be the proudest person in the galaxy. She always said you were special. She always said you would change the world someday. She just did not know it would be this world." Lily laughed through her tears. Approached them, her massive form casting a shadow over the reunion. But the shadow no longer felt threatening. It felt protective. "The children are settling in well," the old warrior reported. "By tomorrow, they will be playing together as if they have known each other all their lives." "That is how children are," Lily said. "They do not learn to hate, they have to be taught, and if no one teaches them, they just see each other as friends." Nodded slowly. "We forgot that truth long ago. We taught our young to be fierce because we believed the universe would destroy us otherwise. But maybe," she looked at the children playing in the meadow, "maybe being fierce is not the only way to survive." "Being kind works pretty well too," Lily agreed. As the sun began to set over Prime, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Lily climbed onto his back. The dragon spread her wings, and together they rose into the air. From above, Lily could see everything. The settlement that had grown from nothing, the ships arriving from distant stars, the children of different worlds learning to be friends, and everywhere she looked she saw hope. That had been the galaxy's nightmare for 10,000 years, but nightmares could end. Monsters could become friends, and walls built from fear could crumble when someone was brave enough to reach out a hand. Lily Harper had not set out to change the galaxy. She had just wanted to pet a cute dragon. But sometimes that was all it took. One small act of kindness, given freely without fear. One child who saw beauty where others saw only terror. One moment of connection that proved everything the galaxy believed was wrong. As flew higher into the darkening sky, Lily smiled at the stars stretching out before her. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders. And now, for the first time in 10,000 years, every species in it had a chance to discover those wonders together. All because a 6-year-old human girl had looked at a dragon and said the word that changed everything. "Cute." The end.